Hi, everybody. Thanks a lot for hosting me here. This is really excited today to show everyone what we've been doing over the past year at Starburst. Um, I'm Dain Sundstrom. I am one of the founders of the Presto project, along with David Phillips, Eric Wong, Martine Traverso. I have been working on Presto since the beginning. So what, like 9 years ago, something like that, 9.5 years. And I work on Trino, the Trino fork of Presto, pretty much exclusively with the other founders. I mean, it's not just us. There's like a huge community like that work on this with us. I'm a CTO at Starburst. Before working at Facebook, I worked on a bunch of open source projects. The one you're probably most familiar with is JBoss. I started working on that when the entire company fit in one living room. So been doing open source for a really long time. Today, I am super excited to talk about Starburst Galaxy. This is a project that myself and David and Eric have been working on for the past year at Starburst. It's been just a blast. It actually reminds me of when we started Presto, when all four of us were kind of in the corner of Facebook working on this like super revolutionary database that I don't know if everyone understood, but like our vision back then was to bring like a super powerful MPP database to everyone. This is why I insisted that like the whole thing be open source from the beginning. And we've been working on building an awesome community really ever since. This is just like super awesome. And at Facebook, we were able to bring this awesome software to everyone, but we had like a really big team of people. And through that, like people could show up, they could add their data sets, they could do all this awesome stuff. But and this is really revolutionary, but it's difficult for like any new company to jump into Presto or Trino. Like anyone who's actually used this stuff know that like this can be a really difficult thing to like actually get set up, to tune, to work through, like how you actually upgrade it, how you deal with cost accounting, how you deal with security. All that stuff is like a really difficult thing. And what we've been working on is Galaxy, which is Starburst's SaaS version of Trino. And I'm super excited. This is like a really awesome project. I think this is really special. And I think you all really will like this. So what is Starburst Galaxy? So Galaxy is a fully managed version of Trino. We can spin up clusters really fast. It's totally pre-tuned, everything's set up for you. You just connect your data and go. It has all the awesome performance stuff in Presto and Trino and all the awesome stuff that we've been doing at Starburst. We spent a huge amount of time in developing this, just like really working through the user interfaces, working through like how to actually set this up, how to make it work really amazing for all of our people. We tried to really build it to be intuitive. I think we've done a really good job so far. Like we're just getting started with this. You'll see. I think it's pretty good, but like if you look back at what we've done in the past 9 years with Presto and then Trino, you'll see like we got a lot more planned here. We from the very beginning started building in a really comprehensive security system because you really can't have data access without having really awesome security. And then like the last thing we did, we started day one. We built this on all three clouds at the same time. You can spin up clusters in any of the clouds. And we have I don't know, 15 or 20 regions we're in. If you need more regions, just like reach out to us. Like we're just waiting to see which ones people are actually using. So it's a pretty awesome SaaS product. So the real thing that we're trying to solve here at Starburst is this mess of how you actually do data analytics today. Like this drawing here is literally the way people have been doing data analytics since the 80s. Like the CEO comes and says, hey, you know, there's this pandemic going on. How many masks do we have in our warehouse? And, you know, you're the data analyst person and you go and you're like, great, go find all the masks. And you're like, well, we have 10 companies and they have 10 different systems. And so we have to ETL all that data into, you know, a data warehouse, a data lake, a cloud data warehouse. I mean, heck, at a lot of companies, you have all four of these, or I mean, there are companies that have, you know, all four of these in 3 different companies. So they have 12 copies of all sorts of data sets. And then at the very end, you can actually do your analytics. This takes a huge amount of time. And most of the vendors are focused on this, like this last step. It's like, oh, all the data is prepared magically. And then I run like one query and, you know, 15 milliseconds later, I get an answer. And it's like, that's really not the whole thing. Like you have to actually include all the steps through the process to get to your insights. So what we're trying to do at Starburst and what we think we're on the, what we're accomplishing here with Galaxy is go from this EDW kind of mess to a data mesh where you can have Starburst, specifically in this case, I'm talking about Galaxy, connected to all your data sources. Your analysts, your finance people can come in through this single point of intelligence, this single pane of glass to really all your data. And we just make it work for you. And that is something we've been doing since the beginning. And this is definitely something I think we accomplished with Galaxy. So just a really quick overview of the architecture of Galaxy. So we have a centralized control plane, set of control planes spread throughout the world. We're in the EU, we're in the Americas, we're in APAC, and you set up your account, and then you go to deploy a Starburst cluster. You pick a region in a cloud, and we will start up a Trino cluster in that cloud and we will connect to your data sources. Now, this is a bit different than what you'll see from some of the other vendors in this space. Some of the other ones, the computes will actually be provisioned directly into your account, into the customer account. We built that version. We actually built a number of prototypes, and it's quite it's a really slow process to spin up stuff in other people's account. It's expensive, but I think the biggest thing and the reason we moved away to this design is it's actually like pretty security dangerous, because that would mean our entire software development pipeline is hooked directly into your account, and we're able to deploy arbitrary software into your account. And that just, like, for our security conscious customers, like that just wouldn't fly. So in this, there's a much more well understood tight security interface boundary between the analytics software and what we're actually accessing in the account. And this is faster to do, and we can maintain this a lot better. It's easy for us to manage the software and the versioning and the auto upgrades and all that sort of stuff. So this is the architecture that we have today, and it's working, and we have some customers on it, so it's pretty awesome. At this point, I'm going to switch to a demo that was run by Russell.
Okay, let's get into Galaxy. As you can see, I plugged in my email address. I should have a confirmation code waiting for me. Come back in and plug that in as well. Now I am verified. I can choose a domain. This is how my users and I will log into the platform. How about PrestoCon? We'll create the account. Next, we're prompted for a password. That's pretty easy. Just plug one in. And welcome to Galaxy. We are now in. Now, if I'm really fast and get over to my clusters, we'll see a sample cluster starting up for me automatically. This is going to come up really fast because we don't force you to install things like control and compute planes. We just do that automatically. I could immediately start querying with this cluster, or if I want, since this is just sample data, I'll show that to you really quickly. That may not be as interesting, so I will begin provisioning data sources for my teams to leverage. Let's say for the sake of argument that I want to find a developer evangelist. I grabbed a lot of good information from the archive of Stack Exchange. My Stack Overflow information, my heaviest data is sitting somewhere on a lake, since there's a lot of information there. So we want to connect to my lake. I have a couple different options here. I can use a bespoke metastore like HMS or AWS Glue if I have it set up. Maybe I don't even have one, or perhaps I just don't want to manage it and care for it myself. Galaxy can actually act as your metastore. In this case, I am going to choose to use Glue just for the sake of argument, and we'll go ahead and fill in some of these other options. So I plugged in what I need to. We'll test that connection. We'll save the catalog. And now I have my connection to the lake. I also want to do some federated querying. I have some databases that are focused on crypto out on RDS. So I'm going to go ahead and add those. These are crypto-related subs, essentially, that came out of Stack Exchange. We'll do the same testing and saving, except now it's time to actually add these to a brand new cluster. We'll go ahead and create a new cluster. These come in all shapes or sizes based on what I want and need. I'll choose a small, and let's say that we're going to give this to the marketing team. I can choose how long I want this to idle before it goes into a suspended state, so I don't forget to turn this stuff off and owe someone, $10,000 3 weeks later. What we'll do now is select the actual data sources that we just provisioned. You'll notice they're sitting in US East in this case on AWS, and there we go. What Galaxy has done is politely pushed my compute to where my data happens to be. I don't have to do that. I'll deselect these, come back in, and you can see that I could choose essentially any region on any of the mega vendor platforms. Now, you're only seeing a couple here because I'm actually on a demo deployment of Galaxy. In production, you're going to see all of them. So we'll go ahead and select these, and we will create our cluster. This is going to take about a minute to spin up. Since we have less than 5 minutes to go through this whole thing, I'm going to flip over to a different environment. So here I am. I'm in the different environment. Here are all of my clusters. You'll notice my little sample cluster has gone into a suspended state because no one is leveraging it. Let's go ahead and use our marketing analytics cluster to ask a question. I'll show you in the Cluster Explorer all of the various catalogs, the schemas that we're dealing with, all of the things that are queryable. Of course, you can do things like drill into your objects like tables, etc. I'll go ahead and just plug in a query. This is a query that's going to create a cohort of users using common table expressions to find people who are answering questions about Bitcoin, also unioning in people who are answering questions about Ethereum, Cardano, etc. This cohort of users we're going to jam up against my lake. This is my Stack Overflow sub sitting out on my lake. We're going to find people who are not only deep in crypto, but they are generally technical. So we'll go ahead and execute this. So we're doing a federated query against 3 schemas on Postgres and the lake. We have our answers, average answer score, how many questions are being answered, etc. Here are all of the folks. Like, I totally want to hire a person named Wally Lawless. That would be awesome. And if I want to take a quick look at my query history, I can do that. Here's the query that we just executed. We'll open that up, get some high-level information about what just happened, as well as having the ability to dive in to see exactly what tables were leveraged, see what the query plan is, et cetera, et cetera.
Awesome. So that was just a really quick demo. If you want to check out Galaxy, you can go to starburstgalaxy.io. We have, if you sign up, you can get $500 in free credits to run some pretty big clusters. We're hiring at Starburst, and by that I don't mean like we're hiring in general. If you want to work on literally this project with myself and David and Eric, we're hiring for this team, and we're building out a pretty big team around a SaaS. We think this is the future of data warehousing, and we're super excited about it. So if you want to try out our product, great. If you want to work for us, like, hit us up. Like, this is going to be a pretty exciting run. Thank you to everyone, and I'm really glad I could show this all to you.